You keep telling yourself they just need more time. That if you are calmer, if you can become easier to love, they will finally show up. You keep calling it confusion. You call it misunderstanding. But what if it's none of that? What if they already know how to show up and they've decided not to for you? They are not confused. They are choosing. And once you accept that, you stop saying, maybe I'm overreacting. You stop telling yourself they didn't mean it like that. You stop minimizing what hurts you. You start recognizing the pattern. That pattern wasn't accidental. It was consistent. It showed up in moments you tried to brush off. Moments like this. The silence when you needed comfort. The blank stare when you shared something you were very proud of. The birthday that felt like an obligation. For me, it was this. I remember there was a day I was crying because he had done something that hurt me, and it was calm. He was not apologetic, just unaffected. And that's when something started to shift in me. Not because it wasn't emotional, but because it wasn't moved. That's not confusion. To me, that's detachment. And whether it's intentional or not, when it keeps happening and nothing changes, it becomes a choice. Here's the part that hurts. You've seen them adjust before. They adjust for promotions. They adjust for their bosses. They adjust when something matters to them. My ex once said to me, "Everyone at work loves me." And I remember thinking, if you treated your boss or colleagues the way you treat me, you wouldn't have a job. So they knew how to be gainfully employed. They knew how to show up for others. They chose not to show up for me because nothing required them to. It was never about capability. It was about priority. So if someone hears you, watches you cry, listens to your pain, and still nothing changes, it's not because they don't understand. It's because your pain doesn't cost them anything. And some people are only motivated by consequences, not empathy. And here's what that kind of dynamic does to you. You start shrinking, not all at once. Slowly, you talked less. You needed less. You stopped bringing things up. You started calculating your tone before speaking. And slowly, you began asking, am I too much? Am I needy? Am I the problem? No, you are not the problem. You are only reacting to emotional starvation. Anyone would. If this hurts, it's because you already know this is not confusion. And if you are still in that relationship, that doesn't make you weak. It's conditioning. If you grew up earning love, minimizing your needs, keeping the peace to feel safe, this feels familiar. You confuse anxiety with chemistry, inconsistency with passion, and then there is investment. You've invested your time, all the memories, and the plans. So walking away feels like you're losing everything. But I need to tell you that staying doesn't recover your investment. It increases your loss. And underneath all of that is fear. The fear that no one will ever choose you. Fear you are too much. Fear you'll be alone. When someone slowly erodes your self-worth, you don't stay because you feel powerful. You stay because you feel small. That's trauma bonding. And if you are in a trauma bond, you start believing the problem is them. You think if they loved you better, showed up more, changed just a little, everything would finally feel safe. But here is what is harder to see. The real question isn't whether they can love you better. It is why you're working so hard to keep someone who is not working to keep you. You trained the dynamic. But this isn't about blame because it is actually power. If you trained it, you can retrain it or you can remove yourself from it. And that's where your control lives. And control doesn't always look loud. Sometimes it looks like detachment. Detachment doesn't have to be dramatic. It should be quiet. It's about pulling your energy back. You need to stop over functioning. Stop over explaining. Stop initiating every repair. And then you observe. You are not trying to play games, but you want to see clearly. You want to know if you stop carrying the emotional weight, will the relationship collapse? And if it does collapse, that means the relationship was never balanced. And here's the paradox no one tells you. The moment you genuinely detach is often the moment they suddenly wake up. And this is not because they changed. It's because they felt the shift. And by then, you are already saying differently. And when you begin to see differently, you stop begging. The moment you stop begging for crumbs, you realize you were the one bringing the bread. You were never too much. You were just asking the wrong person to value you. Confidence isn't loud. It's the decision to stop negotiating your self-worth. And self-respect, it changes who even gets access to you. And that's where you stop shrinking. They are not confused. They are choosing. And the harder truth, you are not confused either. You've just been hoping for too long. I need you to know you've spent enough time waiting for someone to change. There is a version of your life that doesn't require you to shrink. Subscribe to the Bridge Forward today. This is where we stop romanticizing emotional neglect and we start choosing ourselves.